I'd like to call this meeting to order, please. Thank you all for coming. And would you please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance? All rise, please. I can't see you, but here we go. Nice and loud, please, everybody. I pledge allegiance
to the flag
of
the
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation,
indivisible,
under God,
with liberty and
indivisible,
justice for all.
liberty and justice for all.
Well, in person, it's easier to keep you all together. And if anybody wants this flag for January, you all just let me know. I'll call the roll now. Ms. Diket?
Here.
Mr. Pietroski?
Here.
Ms. Shumway?
Here.
Ms. Belz?
Here.
Mr. Deanda-Whaley?
Here.
Ms. Groove?
Here.
We're all here and accounted for. Mr. Superintendent, are there any adjustments to the agenda?
No, ma'am, there are none tonight.
Oh, wow. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the school committee for December 2nd, 2020.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the roll. Ms. Diket?
Yes.
Mr. Pietroski?
Yes.
Ms. Shumway?
Yes.
Ms. Belz?
Yes.
Thank you. The motion passes unanimously. Let's see. Superintendent report, please.
Okay, I have quite a bit, but I'll try to be brief. Attached to your agenda was the winter coaches and volunteers, which is just a reporting. And I'm happy to entertain any questions you might have. And Mr. Staunton is also on this Zoom if you have any questions for us. I would like to say in some of our meetings with the board chair, committee chair, we're talking about some of the, I don't want to say the struggles, it's not really a struggle, some of the issues we've been having with remote learning and the number of students who are coming to remote learning. And as things have been progressing, the administrative team talked about this last week because we have about 50 students at the middle school that are doing remote learning, and we have about 50 at the grade school divided between 3 teachers. And what we'd like to do, and then there's sort of a myriad, I can't tell you the number at the high school because they're doing it asynchronously. But at this point, I would like to make the decision to send out a letter to the public, to our parents, that basically says that our students who are remote will remain remote unless they want to come back, and students who are in person will stay in person and are not going to be permitted to move to remote. That's for a number of reasons, which I'm happy to talk about, but it was a unanimous support from the administrative team. And the simplest reason is we just can't, with 2 teachers doing 25 students each at the middle school and the grade school being between 17 and 19, there just isn't it isn't possible for those teachers to take on more remote learners. And for me personally, just sort of tip my hand a little bit, it's a direction that I want to see us head anyway. And it started with a conversation with Chairperson Geyer and myself that next fall, unless something really strange happens, I would like to propose that we not have any remote learners next year. We have in-person only. And so that began a conversation about why don't we do it sooner? And we talked a lot about why that is. And we talked about that with the administrative team too. And we felt that things are in pretty good place right now, but they would become unwieldy and unable for us to manage if we allow any more students to go to remote. I don't want to say compromise, but the position that we took as a administrative team is that if people want to be remote and they have medical reasons to support that, then they would work that through with Megan as the Director of Teaching and Learning and the person in charge of remote learning specifically. Sorry. And if they just want to go to remote, then they would be placed on a wait list. And if somebody happens to go from remote to in-person, opening up a slot at that grade level, then we could allow that other person to come in. But I would like to send that out before we leave for break to get it out to our parents, and then put it in the community advertiser with some other things that I want to share with our community about what's been going on in our schools. So I'm not exactly sure how you want to proceed with that. I would just like to say that if there's opposition to that, then we can postpone that and possibly put on a future agenda for a vote. I didn't feel that it needed a vote, but if the committee collectively feels that it does, then we certainly can do that.
Well, let's take a check of the pulse and see if the school committee folks have any questions to ask and see where it goes. Ms. Shumway?
I just have one question. So, Mr. Hodgkin, you had mentioned that the students that are currently remote would be allowed to come back in person. I thought that originally, when we were discussing hybrid model and number of students that could be taught in person with safe physical distancing according to the state guidelines, if those remote students were to come back, would we still be in compliance with those physical distancing in the classroom guidelines?
I'm sorry.
That's good.
Is that okay? All right. The short answer to that is yes, unless all of them decide to come back, or even 50% of them came back. And that's why it's nice to have somebody who's gatekeeping for us, like Megan. And what you said is exactly what the consideration is. We don't anticipate that we'll have a lot of remote kids coming back, but if we had lots, then we would have to figure out if we could manage that from a physical distancing standpoint. So you're right on with that.
Okay, thank you.
Any other school committee thoughts, questions? Ms. Belz?
So would you outline that, what you just talked about with Kristin, would you also outline that in the form that you're going to send home to parents? So, because I mean, maybe not, but you could potentially have a waiting list for people to come back in.
Potentially. There's no reason I can't include that in the narrative as well to our community.
Mr. Pietroski?
I think there is a need for us all to think about what impact it might have if a lot of these kids who are now on remote do want to come back, because it's most likely that we won't see the true results of the vaccinations affect us until sometime in the fall. And you just told us that if we're going to have to continue social distancing, we got a problem, because we don't have enough room for all of these kids to come back. Now, I don't know what the state's going to do, but the state's got this as a problem too. And we've got the problem, the same problem as the state has, is that we have to educate these children. So this is interesting. You know, I don't know if we have any answers here today. I share your concern about the current staff having enough of them so they could teach remotely. That's why I was mentioning the budget thing. You may have to hire more people to take and handle the influx of these young people. But the main thing to me is just we're aware of it. And I hope that the people in Augusta are also aware of the same issue, and that maybe our elected representatives can also carry the ball a little bit for us and what our needs are.
Yeah, and Joe, you're right on. Those are all part of our considerations. Everything that you've all said is really part of the conversation. The whole notion of space is going to be an issue. I think where I might differ a little bit based upon the guidance that I'm getting is I think by late spring, early summer, that the vaccination will be more readily available. And we're anticipating that by opening of school next year, that we'll be in pretty decent shape. And I just got updated information on that as early as last night. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know any more than the rest of you, but that's what people are projecting at this point, and that's a big part for us. The other part, while I'm sort of on some of the considerations, is the notion that I think all of the students who don't want to be in school because of concerns around COVID have chosen to do so. And a lot of school systems, in fact, one very, very close to us, made the decision for no remote learners this year. And all of their students who did not want to come to school all went to homeschooling. I was very concerned about losing a lot more students to homeschooling, but I just don't believe that we will lose, theoretically, the students who are remote would, might choose to all go homeschool. I don't think that'll be the case. That'll be something we have to consider. But our October 1st enrollment is in. So I don't think we're going to lose a lot more kids to homeschooling next year if we say that everybody will have to be in school. Obviously, you're all aware that if students go remote, they still count as our student. That's why, as you said, Joe, we're responsible for their education. And if they choose to go to homeschooling, we get nothing. So that's a huge consideration for us.
So, Mr. Superintendent, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought that initially you were sort of testing the water to see what the school committee thought about perhaps sending out a letter of some kind to our parents, which again would sort of test the water. Am I correct?
Correct.
So if we get back to that specific topic, how do the school committee folks feel about that?
I have no problems with the letter being sent.
Same.
I'm fine with it being sent. I think staff needs to know just to be able to prepare one way or the other.
Yep, I agree on the letter, and I like Sue's idea of including how there are a limited number of in-person and remote learners that the district can accommodate at this point.
Kristen, I mean, all of you, not just Kristen, but I mean, I think I can certainly talk to Jeff and Mark and Karen and see what that number is, see if we can get a sense of, and I'm not sure I'll publish that with the letter, but I think we do need to, probably for your sake, and I can inform the school committee of what that is, what that number is. And we have, Jana, just so you know, the staff is fairly aware that this is the direction we're looking to move in.
Take it?
Obviously we can't deny education to anyone. So yeah, I'd be cautious about putting those numbers out saying we can't accommodate, because it's my understanding that if we can't physically accommodate, then we might have to look at a hybrid model, which nobody really wants to do. So yeah, I would just be careful how you say, but just that we need to know because of planning purposes.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Mr. Superintendent, I think we're a go on that.
Super. Okay, just a couple other things. I want to make the committee aware. I'm not prepared to send it out yet because we need signatures, but the settlement agreement with the Human Rights Commission has been done. I've actually signed it, and now we're waiting for them to sign it. And then there's one other signature, I can't remember who has to sign it, that has to occur, and then we're good to go. Related to that, I did meet with, I was invited by Ms. Booth, who's a civil rights advisor at the high school, to join their first meeting. And I'm hoping, I talked to Josh before the meeting, but I am hoping to have some more conversations. I'd like to have some specific conversations with the students who were specifically involved with this situation last spring. So hopefully that'll be scheduled soon. But I'm feeling very, very positive about the way that that has gone, and we'll keep moving forward. And just in case any of you are thinking that I'm not thinking beyond that, I am. This is not a high school issue alone. This is a Winthrop Public Schools issue, and so that'll soon become what our focus will be. But we had to deal with that specific issue. Related to that, and I meant to tell you this earlier, the Kennebec Valley Regional Service Center that we're a part of with RSU2 and RSU 38 has recently agreed to create a position that will fit right in nicely with the settlement. It's a part-time position. It's called Affirmative Action Officer, Title IX Coordinator and Trainer. And it's a 20 hours per week person who's going to work with our 3 districts. They're not taking the place of, like, for instance, Sue Fosford as our affirmative action officer, She's going to continue to be our affirmative action officer, but she will now have somebody to go to, along with the rest of us, to deal with issues of affirmative action in Title IX. So it's really good, and I'm really looking forward. I mentioned that to our attorney, who mentioned it to Amy Sneerson at the Maine Human Rights Commission. And this all happened before we were dealing with this complaint, and I think it just shows our commitment as a district and then as a region to address issues of discrimination and affirmative action issues. So I'm feeling really good about that. Just wanted to share that with you as well. The last thing I have, and then I'll answer any other questions you might have, is there was some question about CATSI, because if you have not been made aware, I thought I had shared this, but Augusta, starting tomorrow, will be remote for the next 2 days. And then no school on Monday and Tuesday of next week. And then they will not resume, they will stay remote after the Christmas, or sorry, the holiday break. And they will come back with remote until January 19th. I think that's the Tuesday after Martin Luther King Day. During that time, our CATSI students will attend CATSI via remote. And I don't have a lot of the information about what that looks like. I don't know if Mr. Campbell does. I don't mean to put him on the spot, but I just know that our students will be remote with CATSI.
Mr. Superintendent, the only comment I had is, you received it in an email that I sent to you, is that I'm really saddened that it would appear as though none of the sending schools were involved in that decision-making process at all. Perhaps Coney and CATSI cannot operate separately, but I wonder if they could, and might be able to. But I'm hard pressed to understand how our CATSI students, where so many of the programs are so hands-on, which indeed is why our students opt to take advantage of those, and where there are so many certifications, both state and national, that those students can attain through those programs. I'm hard pressed to understand how our CATSI students will be able to progress in that program remote.
It's a very valid point. I don't have a good answer. I'm certainly Nick Gannon, who's the director at CATSI, is somebody I know pretty well, or really well, and I'm more than happy to reach out to him to ask him or share those concerns with him, because I share those concerns as well, and wonder ask him what the plan is to do that. I don't know. It's a great question about why there was no consultation with the sending schools. And ironically, I happened to run into the Augusta superintendent before I came to this meeting tonight. And had I thought of it, I should have asked him, but why that is there any way that could operate separately? But that is when it was 1 or 2 days, I don't think any of us had that concern, but waiting until January 19th to go back to in-person learning for the technical center, it begs the question. It's an excellent point.
Who knows, we might end up being remote too. After looking at the results of how people handled in the rest of the state Thanksgiving vacation, we might run into a remote situation for our buildings as well. But I guess Coney is just acting preemptively. So, Mr. Deanda-Whaley, have you heard at all from any of the CATSI students?
A little bit from like drama club. I know that they were kind of talking about how they are kind of saddened about not being able to kind of do that, because of course it's very hands-on, especially like the cooking programs and whatnot. That was more specifically the conversation was oriented around that subject specifically, because there was a couple students that were in that program. But yeah, it's just a little bit more difficult. But I bet that gets super complicated trying to deal with two different kind of schools in the near same building. But I know that they were kind of wishing they weren't on break that long or on remote.
All right. How about you, Ms. Grube?
No, I haven't heard anything.
Thank you. Mr. Superintendent. Any more?
That is it.
Okay.
Geyer, I just have one quick question.
Oh, sorry, Ms. Shumway?
Sure. Can we just go back? I know that we don't have any influence whatsoever in the coaches, and so it has nothing to do with that. But I'm just wondering, all of the coaches that are listed here, they're all aware of the level of programming that we're offering, and they're all comfortable with that level of programming.
So I'm going to ask Joel to jump in here because he had his meeting, I think it was last week with the coaches. And so he can share with you what the conversation was. I think the answer is yes, but he can answer it better than I can. Mr. Staunton?
You wish you could reach out and tap them, don't you?
I can do it. I have a touch screen, so I don't dare to touch it.
We text them?
I'm going to. That's what I was going to do.
I don't have his number. Is this where I'm supposed to sing again?
Yes, that would be great.
Please, no.
Born free.
Hi, folks. I am here. I'm just dealing with a situation right now that involves some decisions. So I will be back when I can.
Okay.
Okay, Joel, before you
Yeah.
leave, can you answer Kristen's question?
I didn't hear it. I'm actually talking with Jeannie right now, and that's going to be a priority. So I will contact you when I can.
No big deal. And if you can't get back to answer it during the meeting, it's not a big deal. I just know that there were some, as the season progressed at the high school, there were some differences of opinion, and I just didn't want that to happen this season. So I was just making sure that all of the coaches were aware of what was being offered, and that if they're accepting that position, then they're kind of accepting that level.
Yeah, again, I don't want to, Joel has more of the details because he held the meeting, but I know that he and I had spoken before about, being really clear about what, the many iterations of winter sports that may be, that we may have to deal with. We spent a lot of time talking about hockey of all sports because it's a club sport. No, I'm sorry, not a club sport, but we share it with other systems, and the possibility of what we were really concerned about was if the county went yellow, that's an easy decision. But if some of the schools go yellow, they can't participate in co-curricular, extracurricular offerings after school, and so just we're concerned about what the impact might be on our part of that program if say a couple of those schools go yellow and we don't have enough players to field the team. So some of those, I know that we talked about that, and that was going to be part of the conversation. So I'm sorry I can't give you more details.
That's okay. Thank you.
So we're on to the chair report now.
Ma'am.
Well, in the interest of brevity, I don't have one. Standing committee reports, none. Presentation, none. Old business, none. And new business. So that's to recognize you, Kristin. And Kristin, I recognize you. Do you recognize me?
I recognize you.
Okay, we're done with that. All right, public comment.
We'd like to take a few more minutes if you don't mind doing this. Yeah, is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So I will kick it off because I
Can I
have the screen.
interrupt you? Can I interrupt you? I just want you to be able to see what's behind me. This is my haul. Can you see it? This is my haul today. I'm making out like a bandit. You see? Okay. Okay,
So-
Superintendent.
Before we do the specific recognitions, I want to thank Jana and Sue Belz for organizing the majority of things, including the deliveries. And so one of the things that you were being shown there was the plaques that were made for Chairperson Geyer and Vice Chair Shumway. There you go.
Yes, Ms.
And
Yeah.
those are very nice and well deserved. And I want to add my congratulations to both of you. One of the, I'm sure most people are aware, but I think it's the extent of service goes well beyond the 9 years serving on the school committee. for the Winthrop Public Schools. Ms. Geyer served for 39 years. Is that right? 39 years as a teacher here in the Winthrop Public Schools, and then 9 years on the school committee. Ms. Shumway served as a teacher, not here in Winthrop, but right?
Yes.
Yep. But also, for a number of years, and so certainly has a very good idea of the job that the school personnel do, and then also served 9 years on the school committee. So that's a great commitment, and so I just want to offer my congratulations and sincere thanks to both of you for your commitment to the community, to the students, to the staff, and so I wish you both well. I'm sure you're not going away. So I look forward to your continued input in the work that we're doing here in the Winthrop Public Schools. So, and now Sarah Fuller is on here from the town council, and she had said that she would like to say some words. And so we'll turn it over to Sarah.
Thank you, Mr. Hodgkin. And this is, I kind of cannot believe that we're at this point. I thought you guys were going to stick around, with all of us for, well, maybe not as long as Linda Caprera, who the other day we remarked was, she's in her 24th year on the council, which we're trying to see if that was some sort of record. But from me and also on behalf of the council, thank you, both of you, for your tireless efforts on behalf of our students, teachers, and staff for the Winthrop Public Schools. As noted, Ginny, you spent many, many years as a dedicated teacher. Kristin, you were also a teacher outside, but also spent a lot of time in the classrooms here with your kids, volunteering your time. The school committee is in some ways a very different animal than the council is. You guys do, I think, know the ins and outs of the school business and education, and have so many demands placed on you that are always shifting from the state and changing educational standards that you have to keep up with. You've both put in enormous amounts of time, especially with contract negotiations over the years, with special projects, and really going the extra mile, always with the best interest of our students first and foremost. And while we've all had a lot of ups and downs over the past decade, I think the overall trend has been ups. We have a remarkable staff and student body that see, gains, nearly consistently, remarkable programming. We're able to do a tremendous amount of innovative and strong programming and educational opportunities for our community, and you guys in large part are responsible for that with your fellow board members. And of course, we're welcoming a couple new board members to fill those roles as we head into the future. And as we're all more than well aware, again, we're facing some challenging times, but I think that what the past has shown us that as we work together, we will get through them, and Winthrop is an incredibly strong and dedicated community, and we find solutions and get through and are better for it on the other side. So I'll echo Jim's comments in that we thank you again for your service. We hope that you won't go far. We know you can't go far during the pandemic, so we know that you'll be fairly close for a little while, and hope that you'll remain engaged in ways that are meaningful for both of you and rewarding. And really, huge thanks for all that you've done over the past many years. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
So I'm going to read a couple comments in the chat, but I probably should have mentioned for the rest of you who are on here, if you'd like to chime in, not just do a chat, you're welcome to. You can just put in the chat that you'd like to speak, and I'll make sure to recognize you. But I do want to read what's in here thus far. This is Anna Zuski wrote, "Thank you so much, Ms. Geyer and Mrs. Shumway, for your incredible service. Words can't express how grateful my family and I are to have had your leadership in the Winthrop Public Schools." And then Tiff Shaw added, "Thank you both for your service and leadership to our community." And Teresa Fitzgerald said, "Thank you both for your service to our schools. Enjoy your retirement." If that's what it is, but yeah, we'll change the direction. So I know the other school committee members would like to speak. So let's, Jana, go ahead.
So a few years ago, I got a phone call from Gary Rosenthal, and approaching me to be on the school committee. And having known Kristin personally, I gave her a call and I had a conversation with Jenny and had a few more conversations and thought, why not? It's my way to give back to the community. Jenny, thank you for not only teaching me in the classroom as a high schooler, but also everything that you've taught me in the school committee. I've learned a ton from you. And thanks for making me see the other side of some things and explaining things a little bit more in depth. And your guidance and knowledge is something that will be certainly missed on the school committee in the future. Kristin, thank you for lying to me about how much work this isn't. We've certainly had some good times the past few years on this committee. But seriously, if this town only knew how much money you have saved them through negotiations and your tireless efforts with meeting upon meeting with, all three superintendents that I've been here with you, they would be blown away. And by your knowledge as well and your passion for Winthrop schools as an outsider to Winthrop. It's just nice to see someone love the school as much as those of us who have been here forever. And your passion certainly shows. So thank you both. I've learned so much from both of you. I know that you're a phone call away if any of us need it, because your expertise really has been what has helped me learn and grow on this committee. So I am forever grateful for your service to our town and our kids.
Thank you,
And
Jana.
Kristin, I have your card. I had it in my pocket and didn't leave it, so I'll drop it in your mailbox.
Thank you.
Sue, you ready to go?
I am. Ginny, it's been quite a year to be a new school committee member, but through it all, you've been there to answer all of my countless questions, walk me through many procedures, and teach me all you've learned. And I really appreciate all the support you've given me. I admire your honesty and your preparedness and your leadership to keep us on task. I know that's not always easy. And I've especially enjoyed your sense of humor. And I think you have the sweetest dogs in the whole wide world. And I hope I can still come and visit them.
Anytime.
Kristin, you were the one who called me about being on the school committee. But you were pretty honest with me, so. But I wanted to tell you that I admire your thoroughness and your attention to detail and your thoughtful questions. And I've learned so much about what it means to be a valuable school committee member, just watching you be in action during the meeting. So I want to just thank you both for all your hard work and your sacrifice and your dedication to the town and to the teachers and to the Winthrop public school system. And I wish you all the very best. And I'll probably be calling you a lot.
And I hope you do. Thank you.
Mr. Pietroski.
Well, I was thinking back what was going on 9 years ago. And I think Ike was there and John was there. Maybe Mark, Dwight, and David came along. I was there. In fact, I was there in the high school when you showed up. If I remember right, Jenny. Hi, welcome to Winthrop High School.
Yeah. Right.
And she had the pleasure of having, 5 of my 6 kids in class after that. So that was my reward to you. But the school board was different when you guys joined, and I have to admit that the best years of my life on the school board had happened while the 2 of you served on the school board, because we made some significant changes in the way we looked at issues, the way we talked through issues. Ginny in particular, when she became the chair, made me sit right beside her so she could bat me when she wasn't happy with me. Before I used to have a corner seat. That was pretty good. But the fact is that it really took attention to detail and maybe some other changes when Meg came on and also Jana came on, and then Sue eventually came on. And but the important thing is that our attitude towards what we were doing, I think, involved us all. Got us all committed in the same direction. We did hash out things. We didn't always agree with things, but there's no question in my mind that both of you would be in my memoirs in terms of individuals that I have served with, that in addition to their commitment, did the work, did the study, pushed us all to be better people, better participants. And we all came from different backgrounds too, and there was kind of interest in that regard too. But there's no question we put in the late night, put in the early mornings, we put in the middle of the days. We had some serious problems, learned a lot. I think you did too. We just learned a lot. And I think we're proud of what we accomplished. We didn't give up. That would have been too easy, was to give up. No, we somehow just plowed ahead, and I think we came out pretty well in the end. So thank you for your service. Thank you for your direction. Thank you for your steadfastness in making us stay in our own path. Well, we crossed over a little bit, I guess, but really to get things done. And I think you should feel that a great sense of accomplishment, and that to you, both of you, owe our thanks. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
Very much.
Okay.
Jana.
Do either of the student reps want? Okay, Mr. Deanda-Whaley?
Well, I haven't known you guys as long as all these other people, but I mean, I've known Mrs. Shumway because she's one of my friends' mom, and that's how I always knew Mrs. Shumway, just going over for the parties, the Abby's birthday parties, and I got to know Mrs. Shumway a little bit, but I didn't really get to know her until I joined this committee. And, I remember going into my first school committee meeting, and I was like, wow, like, what am I doing? I just remember the leadership of Mrs. Geyer and how Mrs. Shumway had all these questions that I would never even think of, like just the attention to detail and just like so much. I feel like I've learned so much from both of you, and I feel so grateful that I got to be on the committee while you guys were still there. I can't tell you the amount of times that that I've talked to Amelie, where we've texted and we're like maybe even in the middle of a meeting, which is kind of weird, but we're like, wow, they're leaving, like that's crazy. Like, I think just like the leadership and how you guys, the way that you guys have helped our community, I think that's really great. And I'm really gonna miss, I hope you still text me, Mrs. Geyer, on Thanksgiving, and you send me a Charlie Brown GIF. I really love that. That's like my favorite part of Thanksgiving, even though this was only my second year receiving one, but I still hope I get those. But wow, but thank you so much just for teaching me. I feel like I've learned so much from you guys.
Thanks, Josh.
Thank you, Josh.
I want to start by saying how grateful I am to everybody on the committee for welcoming me and allowing me to be a part of this team. And thank you so much for simultaneously kind of forcing me out of my comfort zone, but also making me feel a lot more comfortable. I've only been on this committee for a very short time, but it's impossible not to see how hard Ms. Geyer and Ms. Shumway work. Your organization, problem solving, and communication skills really inspire me. And every meeting, I'm amazed at how well you do your jobs. Being on this committee with both of you, even for a short time, has taught me a lot of lessons. And as Mr. Pietroski said, made me want to push myself harder and work more and be more involved and just be a better person. So thank you so much for your years of dedication to Winthrop and its students. And I'm sure I can speak for the entire community when I say we'll miss you, but I don't doubt you'll continue to be involved in the school and positively impact our community. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Emily.
Thanks,
Okay.
Emily.
Anybody else want to chime in before we let you two have a chance to retort?
Yes.
Kelly?
Michelle?
Yeah. So the whole reason I became a write-in candidate instead of getting my name actually on the ballot is because I messaged Ms. Shumway and said, can you tell me a little bit about what kind of time commitment this is going to be? And she was really great about giving me a 5-paragraph long answer of watch out. It's a lot of work. And I really wanted to thank you for that because it gave me a lot to think about. You know, was I really willing to put that much into something that wasn't family? And I felt like, you know what, I can do this. Miss Geyer will be there and we'll be fine. And it wasn't until Tim and I met with Miss Belz and Miss Geyer and I put 2 and 2 together. Oh, you're leaving too. Oh. Between you, that's a lot of institutionalized knowledge that's, you know, somewhat walking out the door. And it's a little bit nerve-wracking that is going to happen. So I'm glad that you will remain available and around. And I'm glad that you did such a good job helping everybody else on the committee further their knowledge so that they can help us.
Thank you, Ms. Hoop.
Thank you.
We won't be far away.
Looking around, see if anybody else wants to jump in. Okay, I said I wouldn't twist anybody's arm, so Ms. Geyer, I'll turn it back to you, and Mrs. Shumway, you guys can decide what you want to do.
Well,
Comments from you would be nice.
comments from us. I didn't prepare any comments, but I not ever had a hard time talking before, so I'll go first with Miss Fuller. You know, we have had our ups and downs, but during that entire time, there's never been a bit of doubt in my mind that you're supporting the town to the best of your ability. And I think that probably you could say too, that there's never been any doubt in your mind that Kristin and I have supported our school system to the very best of our ability. And sometimes that has caused those downs, but the end of it all, we're all 3 of us are all very passionate about what we're doing, and it's for the best of our whole entire community, the parts and pieces that we represent. So thank you very much for your words. Generally speaking, I have always said for 9 years, having watched school committees in the past over those 39 years, not coming real often, but often enough, that there have been a lot of selfish reasons for people to be on school committees. And it has not been to work for the best of every single student in our school system. I have always said that and Kristin and I have discussed it a few times, that we really truly are blessed and have been blessed over the 9 years to have the members of the school committee that we have had. You know, every year you can read lots of articles in the paper about lots of school committees and school systems having difficulty. But lots of times those school committees really fracture and turn on each other and in public. And that, while we do disagree, that has never occurred with our school committee. And that just speaks volumes to me. I really appreciate the fact that, again, we all do disagree, but we're all going in a direction where there's never any doubt about the commitment of people on the school committee to create a situation where our students can get the very best education possible that will allow them to successfully compete in our global world. That's that's where we have to go as a school committee, as a superintendent, and as a town. Our children deserve no less. And I want to thank you all for helping us move in that direction. I could have not been nearly as successful as I think we have been without the help of the vice chair, Mrs. Shumway. It's interesting, but I hope I'm not speaking out of turn, Ms. Shumway, but we seem to have clicked pretty well. Our strengths complemented each other. She's way brighter than I am. I took as much advantage of that as I could. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate the efforts, the hours, the heart, the tears, all of which you put into this job to make our school committee, our superintendent, our administrators, and our students in our community successful. We have a ways to go, but we're going to sort of hand that off to the rest of you. You have your work cut out for you. There's no doubt about it. But I thank you all, and to make sure that I recognize Ms. Shumway properly, I couldn't have done it without you. I appreciate all of your talents and skills that you've given to our community, and to me as we've worked together to move our school system forward. That's all I think I can get out right now.
Thank you.
Wow, you guys are making this really, really hard. And as you could tell with Ginny and her remarks that we really have put our heart and soul into this position, and so being emotional or not being emotional is difficult. I appreciate everyone's kind words that you've shared this evening. For those of you that have said it tonight, as well as the emails I've received, the Facebook messages, the cards, the flowers, I mean, unbelievable. So thank you to everyone. Thanks to Rowan Gobelbane for his remarks that he said at the induction ceremony last night for the National Honor Society, and to Ms. Shaw and Mrs. Anazuski for arranging that. Honestly, you made me cry. It really hit me last night as to how hard saying goodbye was going to be, because it has been a roller coaster of good and frustrating, but most of all learning and a lot of successes. When Ginny and I first sat down and had tea after we had both been elected, we kind of had a brainstorming of what our goals were. And the reason why we meshed so well is because a lot of our goals were similar as to what we wanted to see for the school district. When we started, we didn't have a policy book that had all of our current policies in it. I remember being shocked having the first conversation with Mr. Ladd about that. And I said, well, what do we do with policies? And he says, well, we have them, but everybody's book at everybody's school is different. And so to me, that was one of the first things that Ginny and I wanted to tackle. It took us 2 terms to get it done, but our policies are now online and accessible to everybody and are reviewed consistently with the policy committee. And so I would say that even though it seems not very exciting, that is huge. We had a strategic plan that we budgeted off of. We created an evaluation system for our superintendent. We pushed communicating our budget to our community. I know that Ginny spent many a day at the transfer station handing out flyers to community members, letting them know about that. And in the end, everything was about putting our students first and making sure that they got what they needed, all students, every single student. So I'm really proud of the work that we've done. I have enjoyed working with every single one of you. I feel that I have made some invaluable friendships over the years, and it's going to be really strange not interacting with you all and seeing you on a regular basis, talking about school business. So I am just a phone call away. I will try not to meddle. I will try to take my parent-only role seriously and let go of some of the control and turn it over to the new committee members. I have a lot of faith that the two of you, Tim and Kelly, that you're going to do a great job and serve our district well. But I've enjoyed my 9 years despite the frustration, and I certainly will miss it. So thank you. And thank you, Ms. Geyer, for being, I'm so grateful to have met you and for your leadership and for your friendship. And that will not change even though our time is done.
And thank you, everybody, for all these gifts back there. I hope you can see them. Can you see my flowers? Can you see them? Okay. Because I really lucked out. Thank you, everybody, for that. I haven't opened them yet, but it's wonderful. And thank you, too, for all of your kind words, everybody. Appreciate it. Yes, Mr. Hodgkin?
Mr. Stonington just texted me and said that he is prepared to go back and respond to the question that Mrs. Shumway asked earlier, if you'd like him to do that.
Just need to hear the question. I'm sorry. I was stepped away on the phone dealing with a situation that couldn't wait, and I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to be rude.
Oh, no problem. So my only question when I was looking over the list of coaches for our winter sports was I just wanted to make sure that all of the coaches that were named, that they were comfortable with the level of programming that we were going to be offering under the circumstances that we are in. I didn't want some of what occurred over the fall season to happen again. So I just was trying to verify that everybody was kind of on board that took positions.
Yes, 100%. Not only did I meet with the coaches, but I think I had shared with you folks that one of the things I learned from the fall was that I needed to set a bar and a precedent of what our programs are going to do. I've had those conversations with the coaches 6 through 12, and everybody's on board.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
No problem. Great question.
Thank you, Joel. Are we good to go on now? Okay. Before we go on to public comment, because the meeting will get away from me here in a minute, I just want to wish our two new members good luck. I know that you'll do great. Don't get too frustrated. It's a heck of a learning curve. And we're always happy to answer any questions. For the three of you that are remaining, I know that you'll do well. I know you will. So I wish you the very best. And we're not far away. Okay. So it's time for the public. It's your opportunity to write in the comment sections anything that you would like, as long as it has to do with Winthrop education. So we'll give you a couple minutes, and this is where I usually sing my rendition of Born Free. Mr. Superintendent, did you get my music for me?
I'm sorry, I did not. But I think you could do it a cappella just as well.
Well, I think I could, because while we're waiting for any of those comments, I'll just tell you a very quick little story. When I was a senior in high school, I was captain of the softball team. So spring of the year, I was co-captain actually. So the two of us were in my dad's Mustang. My dad was a fire policeman, and because of that, he had the red light, and he also had a loudspeaker that was installed in the grill of his car. And so one night, the two co-captains, near the end of the year of our senior year, we decided to drive through one of the local towns screaming at the top of our lungs as we sang Born Free over my dad's loudspeaker system in the grill of the car. We thought that was hysterical, and that was the height of our, our badness. Okay, seeing no comments. School committee comments. We'll whip around. Ms. Diket?
None. Happy holidays to everyone.
Mr. Pietroski?
Really none, except to say that I, like you, the rest of you, enjoyed the National Honor Society presentation last night. I really enjoyed the involvement of the students themselves, and I thought it was a very good program. And so I hope we have more opportunities to see other programs put out on Zoom so that more people can watch this type of thing.
It really did work well, didn't it? It really
Yes.
did work pretty well. Yeah. Mr. Deanda-Whaley?
None. Just just about the NHS induction yesterday. But yeah.
That went great. And are you looking forward to your snow day tomorrow, Mr. Deanda-Whaley?
Oh yeah, 7:30.
One good thing I think that has come out of perhaps the pandemic, well, except you all won't agree. Ms. Shumway?
Yeah, the only, I just have one thing. I definitely echo what Joe said about the National Honor Society induction ceremony last night. That was wonderful to watch, and it was well done. But also, I just wanted to again thank the staff and students and administration for all of their work. And I'm astonished that we are still in person. I think back in August when we were going over our long form, we really didn't even know if we would make it a couple weeks. And so the fact that it's December and everything has gone so well, I don't want to jinx it, but that is definitely because of all of the hard work that our school district, the students, parents too, that coming together and making it all work. So everybody have a wonderful break. It's well deserved. Take some time to relax and recharge. And it has certainly been a pleasure working for and with every single one of you. So thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Grube?
I just want to say thank you to everybody and happy holidays.
Thank you. Ms. Belz?
Yeah, I wanted to comment on the NHS induction ceremony as well. I had the pleasure of watching it with my sophomore daughter, and she really enjoyed it too. And I think it was very inspiring for her. So I just wanted to pass that on.
That's great. Good. I just want to wish everybody a happy holiday. And because most of you won't be here when we come back out, probably, I'll just say what I always say. This is not a time for rebelliousness. This is a time for cooperation. And as we go through into the holiday, it becomes even more important for us to be cooperative with the CDC guidelines so that we can maintain our in-person-ness after Christmas. So hopefully we all can encourage people to go by those CDC guidelines, please. And with that, then I'll entertain a motion to go into an executive session. And for any that need to stay afterward, there will be a vote after the executive session.
I move to enter into executive session to review the evaluation of the superintendent pursuant to 1 MRSA 405-6A.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the roll. Ms. Diket?
Yes.
Mr. Pietroski?
Yes.
Ms. Shumway?
Yes.
Ms. Belz?
Yes.
That's all. Okay. Motion, and I vote yes as well. Motion passes unanimously for us to go into executive session. Thank you, everybody.
We're back. Ginny, you're muted. There you go.
Back in public session at 9:12. I'll entertain a motion now to, I'll let somebody else read that motion. Roman numeral 8.
I'll do it. I move to continue Superintendent Hodgkin's contract for the 2021-2022 school year.
Second,
Discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the roll. Oh, what did I do with that piece of paper? Hang on. Ms. Diket,
yes.
Mr. Pietroski,
Yes.
Ms. Shumway,
Yes.
Ms. Belz,
Yes.
I vote yes as well. Motion passes unanimously. I'll now entertain a motion, Sue.
I move to adjourn.
Second,
Second.
Is there anyone that's not in favor? Say nay.
will that hold you and Kristin here longer?
No.
Okay.
Oh, I have some presents to go open. Okay, thank you, everybody, so very much. And I'll just speak for me and let Kristin speak for a second before we sign off. Sure do appreciate working with such professionals. Thank you so very much. And we're not far away. We'll want you. Okay, Kristin?
Yes, thank you to those that stuck it out all this long time. And Kelly, since you're still on, best of luck to you.
Thank you.
Look forward to working with you, Kelly.
Me too. Thank you, Jana.
Okay, so we're done.
Thank you.
All right, thanks everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Good
Enjoy
night.
the snow.